Hello and welcome to Just Hoops. In today's video, we're going to dive into the second round a little bit and talk about Philly's defensive scheme that they showed in Game 1 versus the Miami Heat. Philly had a little bit of a wrench thrown in them, and they really have to go back to the blueprints and change some of the things about their base defense without Joel Embiid. So first, let's start off by talking about Joel Embiid's impact at the defensive end. So him at the rim, he's one of the best rim protectors in the NBA, along with being versatile to stay in front, make plays in transition, and really impact all plays in the paint. He's a big physical force, he's athletic, he has speed, and he just is phenomenal at timing shots. He understands what the offense is trying to do. He's an incredible help side guy, just reading where the offense is going, what they want to do. Along with that, he does a great job at shading the paint and making things tough on ball handlers to get downhill and make plays deep in the paint. So the base defense of the Sixers throughout the year has been Joel, load up the strong side, really shade the ball, and it was debuted heavily in their first round series versus Toronto, and he was a big time rim presence at disrupting Toronto's attack that was primarily based in the paint. Now they're playing a Miami Heat squad who really likes putting up a lot of threes, but besides a lot of three-point attempts, they really crash the glass and they really like getting downhill early and often to just open up the floor. So without this big, massive MVP, Defensive Player of the Year candidate in the middle of the floor making plays, it's going to be really tough for the Sixers, and this is why Doc had to go in and make some adjustments. So now, let's take a look at these adjustments that the Sixers made in their Game 1 versus the Miami Heat in the semifinals of the Eastern Conference. Philly went to a 2-3 zone. The Sixers showed a traditional alignment with guards at the top. They put bigger wings on the wings, and then they let the big or center roam the middle of the floor. They stayed in a primarily zone look until the ball touched the middle of the floor, and then they matched up out of that. They did a really good job early in the game being physical at the point and loading up on the backside and just wreaking havoc. Look right here. They got three guys crowding the ball with the wing, the center up high shading, and then the ball being activated. This really made things tough for the Miami Heat early in that they couldn't get downhill, really couldn't find gaps to attack, and even with ball movement, when they did touch paint, they were really active in their center activity at forcing tough plays and really forcing the ball out. Even on scoring attempts, you can see that they made possession stagnant and they really slowed down the Heat's fast-paced offensive attack that they're used to. The wings did a good job at shading and just showing bodies. The big floated the paint and really made things tough in there. This clip will present exactly how Philly wanted to play their zone. They wanted to pack the back line and really keep it tight back there. They loaded the nail high to really apply more ball pressure, and they activated the ball well above the arc. You can see that the big had freedom to shade high in the high post. He basically played matchup due to NBA rules, having to stay and guard somebody. The four guys around the big were playing a traditional zone look where the wings were getting bumped. The top of the zone was loading the nail behind and then really getting up into the ball and then switching back on reversals in ball screens. The big, if it was the guy that the big was matched up on, he had the freedom to show and actually show a coverage in the zone. So just the intricacies that Doc had within this zone allowed them to apply pressure within a typically more passive defensive scheme. And it was really good. It worked. It made the Heat work in the half court. It slowed them down and it forced a lot of turnovers, which is uncharacteristic, as we said before. But even on offensive rebounds, the guys for Philly really ran back to their areas. They did a good job at being physical in the paint when they had a chance to body up, when they weren't caught in their zone and not with a guy. But it was just a really good showing, especially in that first half by the Sixers, at getting up into the ball, loading the box behind. And this clip specifically displays the activity and physicality of the bigs on the interior. They were able to match up, they were able to really shade the ball and make plays consistently, forcing turnovers, making drives difficult, and even contesting jumpers on the perimeter. The bigs were essential in the success of the zone and really deterred the Heat from getting downhill, getting deep paint, and making plays on the inside. Without the inside touches, the Heat struggled mightily. You can see in this clip how I was talking earlier about the ball screen coverage. The big got up because his matchup was PJ, and he made a play on the soft show, forced a really tough pass, and the backside was zone, and it made it tough. On the offensive rebound, they matched up out of it, and they just flew around and they hustled, they worked hard, and played with great energy in this zone. So into the second half, Miami had more success, but overall the same things applied for the successful possessions for the Sixers. The big was active, the ball was activated, and guys were really flying around, loading the box, and making things difficult for the Heat in terms of getting paint touches and playing out of those paint touches. In this clip here, you'll see the ball is matched up, the inside guys communicating, they're staying in their positions as they should, and then in the ball screen, they're being active, they're communicating in what to do. The corner was just showed, and then they recovered, and then in the paint touch, they collapsed, get out to shooters. That was a complete zone possession by the Sixers that resulted in an air ball after a tough contest. Throughout the entire second half, though, offensive rebounds hurt, along with just Miami's ability to finally crack the zone with certain sets and certain spacings. But to summarize the defensive scheme, Doc went into this game trying to slow down the pace, make Miami work, basically in an attempt to deter the Heat from doing what made them successful in terms of getting paint, playing out of paint, and just moving the ball and having great pace. This worked for the most part in the first half, made it a really competitive game, and Miami found things that worked, but I think moving forward, the Sixers definitely found a formula in which that they can continue to build upon and maybe make this series a lot more interesting without their MVP center, Joel Embiid. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, learned something about Philly and their defense moving forward in the playoffs. For more content like this, please like, subscribe, and share, and we will catch you guys in the next one.